I recently lost a very big part of my life.
You'd been together a long time?
Since college. This is for my belly, my paunch, my spare tire. I know we had some good times. God knows I'll never forget that night in Albuquerque with the burritos.
It's never easy to lose something that's been such a huge part of you, Bob. Where'd the magic go?
Well, I'd recently begun taking the stairs more and more instead of the elevator, and then we started seeing less and less of each other. One day, it was just gone.
Small step number 67. Take the stairs instead of the elevator or escalator. It's just one of the many small steps you can take to help you become a healthier, well, you. Get started at www.smallstep.gov and take a small step to get healthy.
A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Identify yourself, please.
This is Detroit's Progressive Talk, 1310 WDTW, Dearborn, Detroit. The comments, ideas, and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the sole participants only. Nothing stated in this program reflects the ideas, opinions, or beliefs of this radio station and/or Clear Channel Radio.
The Michigan Medical Marijuana Act of 2008. It's brought its trials, it's brought its tribulations, but now it's time to honor its champions. Presenting the first annual Michigan Buddy Awards, happening in Ann Arbor, Michigan at the Michigan Medical Marijuana Conference at 2900 Jackson Avenue, January 29th at 1 p.m. Dozens have been nominated. Nominations close January 21st. Time is running out to nominate your medical marijuana achievement hero. Do it today at radioweedshow.com/nominate.
The following presentation is controversial and may be offensive to some audiences.
A Detroit police officer is suspended, accused of running an illegal marijuana operation with his brother. Investigators with the Oakland County Sheriff's Drug Unit raided the officer's lakeside home here in Commerce Township and seized several vehicles in connection with their investigation, including the officer's tripped-out Camaro here. The 30-year-old officer and his brother were taken into custody, but later released pending the outcome of the investigation that involves this company, Greene, Greener, Grow. Their website says they have the best medical marijuana at compassionate rates, even selling what they call chewy bud brownies. Currently in Michigan, a registered person can use medical marijuana, but state officials say money-making dispensaries are against the law. Investigators seized marijuana out of this Southfield office that was being used for the company Greene, Greener, Grow, and an attorney for the now suspended Detroit police officer says his client had nothing to do with the medical marijuana company and that the officer only subletted the office space to them and believed they were operating within the boundaries of the law. So far, no charges have been filed against the police officer or his brother, and one of their neighbors says she hasn't seen them since the raid late last week.
I hope they're both okay. They're both really great guys, regardless of what they're doing. I hope everything turns out to the best for them.
Kimberly Craig, 7 Action News.
Countdown to launch. The medical marijuana
launch commit.
Radio show.
Guidance is internal. Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. Power clear.
Roll program. The medical marijuana radio show is a production of the Medical Marijuana Radio Network.
You tuned in to that medical marijuana show. 855-MMM Radio.
Keep it legal, keep it legal, keep it legal, keep it legal.
Hey! You tuned in to that medical marijuana show. 855-MMM Radio.
Folks, we've got Rick Thompson and Denise Policella is in studio, and let me assure you we are live in Detroit.
Starting at noon Saturdays every week. Yes, we keeping you legal. Legislators and lawyers, doctors and the growers. The show is for the people. Michigan medical marijuana, no hassle. We talk about anything, any issue we can handle. Call us up and let us know what is on your mind. And make sure when you do it legal every time. Hey! You tuned in to that medical marijuana show. 855-MMM Radio.
Keep it legal, keep it legal, keep it legal, keep it legal.
Hey! You tuned in to that medical marijuana show. 855-MMM Radio.
Keep it legal, keep it legal, keep it legal, keep it legal.
Welcome to the Medical Marijuana Radio Show for, what is this? What is today? January? What is
January 14th.
We made it past Friday the 13th, so we're good.
God. I can't hear a darn thing. I'm like a deaf man. I'm going to take the headphones off because I smashed them going into the break. Or coming out of the music, I tossed them on the ground and they went plop like a...
You're a diva. That's the problem.
So listen, did you hear the news piece up front there? Good Lord, now the police are getting charged with medical marijuana grows, even if they're not growing.
Well, we're all equal under the law, right?
That would be nice if it were true.
Well, there was the Millionaire Bridge thing, billionaire, I'm sorry.
Threw Matty Maroon in the jail,
yeah,
didn't
they? Yeah, they did.
And his business partner
yep.
For not completing the bridge, connecting it up to the off-ramp.
Well, it's been a few years since they've been in contempt of court. So.
They've been arguing about that thing forever.
Yep.
What else was in the news this week? The clinical relief, the Ferndale case.
Yay!
Happiness, yes.
How about that?
Yeah.
That's really big news. It does. I don't think it sets any precedent, does it, Denise?
Well, no. Honestly, I want people who are still operating dispensaries not to get too excited.
Right.
What it did, and I'm happy because it really confirmed what most of the attorneys in this field have believed, is that you need criminal intent to commit a crime, and that you can't start prosecuting people for a crime if they don't know they're committing it. That lasted up until the CA case, the Compassionate Apothecary case, when the appellate court made it very, very clear, actually, that patient-to-patient compensated transfers aren't going to be tolerated right now. So up until Compassionate Apothecary, I think if you were charged for selling medical marijuana to registered qualifying patients, that you really do have grounds for a dismissal motion based on that.
And for those listeners that may not be familiar with what happened this week, the clinical relief case, which was originated in 2010,
on my birthday.
On your birthday? That's sad.
Around my birthday every year is so awful. I just duck. Because like last year, it was August 23rd was the CA decision.
So Denise Schlepprock, in other
I know.
words, there's a rain cloud that hangs over your head and follows you around.
It's awful. Everybody needs to beware this year.
But the point being that the clinical relief case was dismissed, and all of the people that were being charged there had their charges dropped. The reason being, the judge determined that the law was so unclear that anyone that was operating prior to the McQueen decision did not reasonably have an expectation to know what the exact rules and policies were. Therefore, if they didn't have criminal intent, as Denise mentioned, there's no way you could charge them with a felony. And it's just a shame that some people have already accepted pleas in the Waterford situation and Compassionate Apothecary. And then also the biggest shame of the whole thing is Sal Agro, rest in peace.
Yeah, absolutely.
That this poor gentleman lost his life in part to the hassles that his family went through. They raided his home. They raided his children's home. His grandchildren were put under stress. It's really a tragedy that this type of thing wasn't stopped before the raid ever took place, and that the Oakland County officials were overzealous in their pursuit.
Super overzealous. I mean, really, that raid shocked me, and I'm happy to hear that kind of thing isn't happening quite as often. I mean, I personally know several of my clients have been raided, but they've been significantly more toned down since then. They're polite, not as much flashing of the automatic weapons. The raids that I've personally been experiencing haven't been quite as awful, so hopefully this will tone down a bit. But, really what we need to take from this week, besides, congratulations to all the families and attorneys and workers in that case in clinical relief, is we're not out of the woods, but, definitely if you don't believe that you are violating the Medical Marijuana Act, then you have significant grounds to continue operating, and I've discussed that with my clients. I mean, there's still a lot of gray area out there. I continuously have trouble with the fact that, Attorney General Schuette is telling everyone dispensaries are illegal when dispensaries have never even been defined. I mean, one particular act is against the law, patient-to-patient compensated transfers, and that has somehow blossomed into all dispensaries are illegal, and I don't agree.
Well, there's many other municipalities that agree with you, too. You're seeing Sanilac County refuse to participate in the raids that happened in Blue Water Compassion Center recently. Danny Trevino in Hydro World was charged by the Attorney General simply because local officials refused to pursue the nuisance charge against him that Bill Schuette asked them to do. So we're seeing resistance from members of the government against Schuette's diatribe. It's not just exactly correct. There are cities that are continuing to license and allow dispensaries to operate within the communities in defiance of Schuette, and that tells us that we're right.
Really quick, here's Shakina Pena earlier this week celebrating after her court case was won. She's acquitted by a jury of her peers.
We're excited. We just want to say thank you for the opportunity for clearing our name, and we've been here for the patients. We want to continue to be here for the patients. We support safe access and education here, so we're excited and we're just blessed. Thank you. And Schuette, we kicked your booty.
That's right. Bill Schuette, we did kick your booty, and we intend to do some more kicking. That's a great thing right there. So we're going to have a Kill Bill update coming up later on here in the program. It's going to be a lot of fun. The news was big, and I think as we go forward, hopefully maybe during the end of the program we can get somebody like Matt Abel or Brandy Zinc on to talk about the initiative campaign and wrap up the whole idea of this conversation with that, because that's where this is going. That's the new thing.
Well, and certainly to plug the conference next weekend, because Matt will be there, I'll be there, and you'll be there, won't you?
I certainly will. I'm registered.
Yeah. Well, I'll be there, so people who want to discuss that kind of thing in depth, I'm sure we'll be talking about it.
If you want to be on the program today, if you've got a question for any of our guests or our in-studio people, the number is 810-423-2350. You're joining us today on AM 1310, Detroit's Progressive Talk, WDTW. And, I think there's a bunch of stuff. Bill Later's had a bunch of stories in the paper. I've seen all kinds of stuff. We put it up on RadioWeedShow.com. If you go to the front page of RadioWeedShow.com, I should get Bobby in here to talk about the whole... did he put that stuff up? I don't know. Every week I get to Saturday, and I'm like, I gave it to you Friday. Is it there yet? No, it's not there yet. So if we haven't got it quite updated, you'll see it on there tomorrow. But go to RadioWeedShow.com. The news links are always right up there. Also, we want to give a shout-out to the people at Planet Green Trees, the Planet Green Trees radio show. An awesome show every week with those people. We've been carrying their show on RadioWeedShow.com as well, just kind of simulcasting it live. But you can go to Planet Green Trees. Is it PlanetGreenTrees.com?
PlanetGreenTrees.com or BlogTalkRadio.com. You can get there from both avenues. And this last week was a record-setting listener audience. So congratulations to Michael and Chad and all of the Planet Green Trees guys.
Yeah, and then also Eric Gunnels was on the Planet Green Trees show, correct?
Yep, and I was privileged to be on Eric's show this week also, which had a record-setting audience as well.
Yeah.
I'm jealous. I need to call Eric. I'm going back in, Eric.
I'm jealous, too. Every time they do that
I've been on his show twice. That's not fair.
Every time they do that radio program, they're actually ending up on the front page of Stickam, which is really cool.
Are they? Yeah.
I just happened to be tuning by, and I'm like, wow, I didn't turn the show. I was trying to stop it because I thought I had a player going. I'm like, no, this is on the front page. So those guys are getting somewhere. We're working with those guys, and then also Smokey Cush's Hidden Stash show out there in Muskegon. Smokey's always got great guests on his show.
And the networking that's going on now between the different programs across the state and across the nation is really unprecedented, and Steve is driving an awful lot of that. So he may be just a radio host to most of you folks out there, but he's really an activist non-parallel to us.
We're trying to make sure that people get to hear what the truth of the matter is and kind of cut through the haze, Bill Schuette wants to say, clearing the air. I say we cut through the haze.
No pun intended. Yeah.
Schuette, we kicked your booty. I love that.
In just a few minutes, coming back after the break, folks, we're going to be running this piece. It's a few minutes long. It's Neil Rockind and Tom Loeb, and they are attorneys associated with the case over there in Ferndale at Clinical Relief. And so they're going to tell you a little bit about what this means to them and what this means to the people involved there, because it's really important what happened there. I think it's good that at least the judge understood the argument that they were making, which is, look, this is just confusing for people to understand. How can you hold these people criminally responsible this early on in the settlement of this law?
It was very important, actually. I mean, to be charging people and prosecuting people for violations of a law that were literally being made up after they went along is ridiculous.
It's simply nonsense, and we're hoping that some more judges will start to see this way. Looking forward, the Supreme Court, the state Supreme Court this week just heard some cases. Yeah. We're looking forward to what's going on. Yep. More to come on the Medical Marijuana Radio Show, folks. Please don't go away.
Steve and Denise will be right back. back on the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. The Medical Marijuana Radio Network.
The Michigan Medical Marijuana Act of 2008. It's brought its trials, it's brought its tribulations, but now it's time to honor its champions. Presenting the first annual Michigan Buddy Awards, happening in Ann Arbor, Michigan at the Michigan Medical Marijuana Conference at 2900 Jackson Avenue, January 29th at 1 p.m. Dozens have been nominated. Nominations close January 21st. Time is running out to nominate your medical marijuana achievement hero. Do it today at radioweedshow.com/nominate. Medical marijuana certification. And now you can find out everything you need to know online at getpotid.com. Or write down this toll-free number, 855-DOC-CERT. A friendly specialist will direct you to our Farmington Hills office. Medical marijuana certification. GetPotID.com. It's the key to getting your card. Information, resources, and in the end, if you're qualified, a medical card. Call toll-free right now, 855-DOC-CERT. That's 855-DOC-CERT. It's GetPotID.com. The Ohm of Medicine is a state-of-the-art facility in Ann Arbor where art and passion meet patience and safe quality access. Get to the place that has top-of-the-line security, atmosphere, art, and most importantly, a highly trained and caring, compassionate staff. And the convenience is clear. Ohm of Medicine is easy to get to in downtown Ann Arbor. Private, well-maintained, handicap-accessible restrooms, convenient, secure parking in 2 nearby lots with complimentary validation. The Ohm of Medicine. Log on to omofmedicine.org. Hey, Steve Greene here for the Medical Marijuana Certifications at AMMP. They're the American Medical Marijuana Professionals. You'll find them just north of Utica Road on Gratiot in Roseville. Their address is 28349. Now, call-ins are welcome, but you're better off calling for an appointment. They have a toll-free number, 877-RX-420-99. That's 877-RX-420-99 for American Medical Marijuana Professionals. That's AMMP on Gratiot in Roseville. The patient's place for medical marijuana education and safe access is Third Coast. Beautiful downtown Ypsilanti is where you can get safe, affordable access to education and materials concerning your specific needs, and quality products designed to meet your exacting needs. It's the Third Coast, 19 North Hamilton in Ypsilanti. Convenient hours, friendly, professional, compassionate. Call Third Coast today. 734-487-5402. That's the Third Coast Compassion Center in downtown Ypsilanti. 734-487-5402. The law offices of Targowski and Grow remind you to stand up for your rights. Always treat law enforcement with respect, but if you're detained or arrested, stand up for your rights by repeating, I respectfully invoke all of my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search or seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to talk to my attorneys, John Targowski and Daniel Grow. Targowski and Grow have the education and experience you need to be successful in Michigan courts. Call Targowski and Grow toll-free, 800-957-1069. The law offices of Targowski and Grow, 800-957-1069.
It's the Medical Marijuana Radio Show.
Welcome back to the program. Cutting to break. We were getting ready to see if we couldn't scrape up somebody on the phone to talk about the wins going on in court today. A couple of wins happening. One of them happening at the hands of a legal team. It's Neil Rockind and Tom Loeb, who we managed to get on the phone to talk about their press release. Congratulations, fellas, and welcome to the program.
Thank you, Steve. Nice to be here.
So can you give us the news? Give us, because I don't have it all. Give us the spiel. We'll hear it right from the horse's mouths.
Okay, here's what we did. In this case, the search warrant raid in Ferndale of the Clinical Relief Dispensary took place in August of 2010. At that time, there had been no definitive ruling in the appellate courts in Michigan deciding one way or another whether medical marijuana dispensaries were legal. The argument we made, and the argument that had traction, is under basic due process principles, it's simply unfair to charge civilians with knowledge of how the law will evolve. The Medical Marijuana Act, as you know, all of the police authorities have been complaining about how poorly drafted it is, how confusing it is.
That's ambiguous in some way?
Basic due process says you have to know what the law is so that if you violate it, the law gives fair notice. This statute gave no fair notice. And it wasn't until the apothecary, the compassionate apothecary case, People versus McQueen, that came down out of Isabella County, was decided that there was any judicial gloss on whether or not a dispensary can operate and sell medicine in Michigan. So because the law was unclear at the time of the conduct that they were charging under what's called the rule of lenity, which is a fancy legal term that simply means if there's an ambiguous statute that could be read two different ways, you read it in a way that favors the defendant. Because of that doctrine of law, Judge O'Brien had the courage to do the right thing and dismiss the case.
And this all relates to what you guys have been talking about as the shield versus the sword, yes?
Yes, precisely.
What does this mean? I mean, so the case has been dismissed at this point?
The case has been dismissed, but the prosecutor will certainly appeal, and we'll have to get an appellate decision.
But, Steve?
Yes.
It means everything.
Yes, I think it does.
It means everything. This was the first. This was not a shot over the bow when the Sheriff's Department chose to raid Clinical Relief. This was a direct shot into the most populated, by analogy, the most populated area. It would be like dropping a bomb on a school in midday as opposed to picking an empty field at night. This was a facility that operated in broad daylight. It was licensed. It was being operated with the permission of the local police department and the local elected officials. The owners and operators invited the general public. They invited elected officials, police officers, officials from neighboring communities, and the media to come tour the facility. Every other dispensary that I knew of or that I now know of has in one way, shape, or another copied something about the way that Clinical Relief was operated. It was the gold standard of medical marijuana dispensaries. And everything that they did was out in the open. Everything that the police did was clandestine, secret, and secretive. They created phony and false medical marijuana cards pretending to be patients.
See, that's what gets me.
They gained access into a secure building pretending that they were sick or needy patients. They filled out HIPAA or other medical attestations asserting that they were patients and that a doctor had verified or certified them for medical marijuana use. And they actually went so far as to go multiple times secretly tape recording their interviews with these people, all to try to record the extraordinary act of our clients doing what they said they were going to do, which was to provide certified card-carrying medical marijuana patients with medicine.
We call it safe access.
You know, what's extraordinary is that, I don't know if you remember, but shortly after the raid, I know Tom remembers because we talked about it, there was a massive press release and it followed up with a huge press conference in which Sheriff Bouchard and the Oakland County prosecutor stood behind a lectern. They had a slideshow. They had cartoons. They had showed guns that had been taken from another raid. They talked about things like complaints that had been received from neighboring communities. They displayed, the marijuana like you see on those pictures about, when they raid some Mexican drug lord's place and they get piles and piles of drugs. They displayed the medicine, and they talked about how they were that these people were violating the law and that they were then treated them all like drug dealers. You understand that why this is so important is this was the first case in which people who were acting pursuant to the Medical Marijuana Act in the dispensary were accused of criminal acts. They weren't just brought in some kind of a civil case where the Attorney General said, stop doing what you're doing. They were accused of being criminals. Had they been convicted in this case, their lives would be irreparably changed. Felons, they could not receive certain government benefits, couldn't have firearms, they'd be prohibited, couldn't vote, they would in a lot of ways, they would lose their driver's licenses.
All the things that felons can't do.
Well, I mean, and I'm going to tell you something, and I don't, you know, I have been accused of being of having a large ego. Well, not a large ego. I've been accused of having an extraordinarily large ego. But I want to tell you that the group of lawyers that fought through this case together against, I think, a lot of the odds and the overwhelming number of negative opinions is really incredible.
You know, I was
extremely impressive.
I was talking with Barb Agro moments before we went on the air today, and Barb was saying she would be really interested to find out how much money Oakland County spent on prosecuting this ridiculous case.
It's terrible. I agree with what she's suggesting. And the import of this case can be best seen by comparing it to what happened in Isabella County. A prosecutor with class, Larry Burdick, in Isabella County, brought a civil declaratory action, a nuisance action against the Compassionate Apothecaries Company, and they did it the right way. They didn't go in there with guns drawn, arresting people like criminals. They litigated it in court, and they got an answer. Well, the significance is if you saw the joint press conference that Jessica Cooper and Mike Bouchard gave,
yes,
they compared these people to dope gangs selling crack on street corners to cars that stop at a red light out of paper bags. It was terrible. This, you know, Ferndale is not a wealthy city, and there are plenty of medical marijuana patients there that have problems just with transportation.
Sure.
And as you know, lots of patients can't grow their own. So for many people, they were relying on this facility to get their medicine. And when they came in on August 25th and executed the search warrant, they did it like a SWAT team.
Right.
Just no class at all.
And that's our interview that we played earlier this week with Tom Loeb and Neil Rockind. And we thank them for coming on the program because, you know, giving some highlights about what that meant to them and what that means to the people is, I think it's important that people hear that. Mike's on.
Yeah, for sure it's important. And, well, and what I was telling Rick before the break was it's very important to understand that a lot of constitutional rights have been violated in the last couple of years in the name of marijuana. And it seems that the courts have been reluctant to uphold a lot of constitutional rights, and a lot of local prosecutors have been very willing to look the other way as far as constitutional violations because we're dealing with marijuana. And you have to understand how precedent-setting that is. If we allow constitutional protections to erode because we're dealing with what they think is a controlled substance, then we're really opening the door for many, many more constitutional violations. It's not just about marijuana. At that point, it's about democracy.
It's about the rule of law and the way that it's written and the way that it's enforced. And in a post-September 11 world where we have the Patriot Act, there are a lot of empowerments that people in power think that they can take away from us because they've been given certain privileges. Just because medical marijuana exists in a kind of a unique pseudo world doesn't necessarily mean that we're not subject to the protections that every other citizen in the United States of America has.
So that's the business with clinical relief. And so we wanted to bring you other news as it relates to the legal stuff going on this week because it was quite a bit. Frankly, it was a small week.
Great week.
Big week.
So we have Shakina Pena on the phone from Your Healthy Choice out in Lansing. Welcome to the program, Shakina, and thanks for taking the time out. I know you're running classes and stuff out there at your clinic right now. Thank you for taking a pause to talk to us live in Detroit about this.
Well, hello there, guys. So hopefully everybody's safe and doing well. This has been an exciting week. I'm excited to be participating in it.
It's nonsense that they charged you in the first place, Shakina, because anybody, you know, that with a plain eye could see that you weren't violating the law. I mean, you didn't do anything out there, and I'm just glad that the jury was able to clearly see that the Attorney General is indeed full of BS.
Yes, I was actually just praying diligently for, a fair trial. I just wanted it to be a fair trial because I didn't want someone to, have the stigma. They hear marijuana and automatically stereotype it as guilty. But it was a blessing because the jury of 6, we had about 4 of them that were medical marijuana affiliated with a patient, caregiver, or familiar with someone in the family that was on this program. And so the Attorney General's office had dismissed a couple of those, and they got replaced with, again, someone familiar with the medical marijuana community, and, it was great. So it was very fair.
It's because our people are everywhere. You can't pull a jury of people out of the state of Michigan without finding medical marijuana patients.
I was floored that they even, the Attorney General's office could even ask those questions, and that that the judge didn't intercept with that and say, hey, you do not have to answer the question if you're a patient or caregiver. But, Lois Alderson, which was the judge on the case, she was very fair, too, and I heard that she was against marijuana and so forth, but she was very fair.
Shakina, I just wanted to honor you and thank you for not playing the chicken role and backing out and taking whatever kind of crazy plea deal, because that's what they try and do. They dangle this carrot and stick it in front of you and say, hey, take the easy way out because it's less costly, you're assured of the outcome, and it's all tied up neat with a nice little bow on it. Everybody's happy. Nobody's happy because you just talked somebody who was not guilty into making a guilty plea and, in some cases, possibly becoming a felon. Just take the probation. We won't give you no jail. It's a nonsense. So thank you for not falling for that BS. I'm sorry to say that again.
There was just 3 different pleas that came their way, and I was actually prepared, and I told my staff, if they decide to even arraign me, if someone finds me guilty and I'm arraigned, I was prepared for the next 90 days. I had to look at the worst-case scenario because, I'm a patient and I'm a single mother, so I had to make sure that my business was going to be okay and that, we were also wanting to push forth for the petition for legalization, so I wanted to make sure everything was going to run smoothly. So it was just a blessing, that it came out and to be over, and it went in our favor, and that was just now we can move forward from here.
Did you guys have any questions for Shakina?
Well, Shakina's tough stuff. If everybody that doesn't know her, she's the real deal. And her place, Your Healthy Choice on Michigan Avenue, is one of the very few remaining from what was formerly called the Greene Mile. I happened to visit Shakina yesterday to drop off some of those petitions for the constitutional amendment, and I was very impressed with the facility, but more so with your strength of character, Shakina. Thanks so much for still remaining a positive attitude and a positive influence on the community despite this negative situation that happened to you.
Thank you.
You got courage of steel, Sheena.
I don't know about that. Sometimes I think it hit me after, I went home that night. I thought, oh, my God.
What did I just get myself into? Right.
I know.
But, you are blessed.
And you keep pushing. Yes, truly, and, I think it's because I had that stigma, like I was saying, I was against marijuana for so long because I came from healthcare, and we just had the stigma. But now when it hits home and you're a patient, it really, you just see it's a humbling experience. It's a 180 on it, and you turn around and your morals are dramatically changed. And I never, I've just been pushing since the last few years. We're busy, helping patients. And you want to be compliant still because that's what you learn from, JACO and the healthcare system and everything else. And you don't want to, do anything wrong because you're prepared for audits and walkthroughs at any time. So that's what we try to educate the patients on, and we try to help out the state as much as we can to clear it up out here because they can hear, one thing from, a cowboy who's doing it another, crazy way. And you just want to clean it up to make it so we're all safe. But it has been a learning curve of balance and morals, and you just keep pushing.
Shakina Pena, can I ask you to promote your place? Please promote your establishment. We got people that listen far and wide, and, even the people that won't be able to visit you. I'm sure would like to know about you and who you are and what you do, because I think you're going to be held as an example for other people to follow in some instances. And so we'd like to hold you up. How can people get in touch with Your Healthy Choice?
Thank you. Well, we've been a certification resource center since 2009. So we have physicians that, I screen thoroughly to make sure they're not here for money. Number one, if you're not going to stand by the signature in court or by this patient for health care reasons or for child protective services, then you can't work here. I've let a couple physicians go. So it's not about greed and it's not about each signature, and we have to turn people away as well. So we're a resource center. We do certifications and renewals on Michigan Avenue. And then we also, we do a strong recommendation and education on the product. If you've never used medical cannabis before and you do not want to smoke, we specialize in that because I'm not a smoker. I'm an ingester. So we have a lot of different workshops. We're in Michigan Avenue. Our address is 628 East Michigan Avenue. We have a website, which is www.yourhealthychoiceclinic.com. And our phone number is 517-316-1272. We're open Monday through Friday from noon until 6 p.m. So we're just a resource center too. You don't have to come to us for certification. If you're certified somewhere else and you just have, questions on the program, if you want to know about different, campaign candidates that are out here, we have literature on everyone. So, we also are now helping promote this legalization. So you can come in here and get your signature on a ballot. That would help us, or the petition to get it on the ballot. Anything that you need, just give us a call.
So once again, congratulations, Shakina, from Your Healthy Choice. Shakina Pena is a great advocate. I first met Sheena out at the May 25th Capitol rally. You were right there, proudly standing on the steps, looking Joe Kane in the face as he announced to everybody that we were gonna stand tall and shoulder to shoulder in the face of adversity.
In the rain, yeah, you guys made it in the rain.
Right.
Yeah, it was hard. I was paying for it afterwards. Boy, I locked up really bad, but it was good. Come home and medicate with some medicated macaroni. It was great.
Medicated macaroni. That's a good band name.
You're going to have an appointment with the prosecuting attorney afterwards, and we had cannabis milk that I put in my macaroni.
Wow.
And I had too much of it.
Oh, wow. Sheena, thanks for being on the program. We're cutting away to break. We just wanted to congratulate, touch base with you. Thanks for touching base with people and letting them know what's going on.
Thank you. Be safe, everyone.
More coming up on the Medical Marijuana Radio Show, folks. Don't go away.
More of your calls next on the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. The Medical Marijuana Radio Network.
The Michigan Medical Marijuana Act of 2008. It's brought its trials, it's brought its tribulations, but now it's time to honor its champions. Presenting the first annual Michigan Buddy Awards, happening in Ann Arbor, Michigan at the Michigan Medical Marijuana Conference at 2900 Jackson Avenue, January 29th at 1 p.m. Dozens have been nominated. Nominations close January 21st. Time is running out to nominate your medical marijuana achievement hero. Do it today at radioweedshow.com/nominate.
Well, this formula is specifically to grow cannabis.
That's Ray Kogo for Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients.
Now, everybody knows that large buds and tight buds come from genetics, and then the amount of light you use. The other part is having the correct nutrients that the plant's going to use. Mine specifically to grow cannabis, so it's going to get everything that it needs.
Ray knows what you may not. Those nutrient companies you can get in most grow shops are not cannabis specific. That means they take the stuff out of the bloom that your plant needs in bloom. You can get Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients too. It's just 2 1-gallon jugs that make over 600 gallons of nutrients, all for less than $100. See the difference for yourself.
More trichomes, bigger buds, faster growth, and for less money.
Go to CANNABISformula.com or call Ray direct at 517-375-8998. That's 517-375-8998. Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients. Medical Marijuana Certification. And now you can find out everything you need to know online at getpotid.com. Or write down this toll-free number, 855-DOC-CERT. A friendly specialist will direct you to our Farmington Hills office. Medical Marijuana Certification. GetPotID.com. It's the key to getting your card. Information, resources, and in the end, if you're qualified, a medical card. Call toll-free right now, 855-DOC-CERT. That's 855-DOC-CERT. It's GetPotID.com. The law offices of Targowski and Grow remind you to stand up for your rights. Always treat law enforcement with respect, but if you're detained or arrested, stand up for your rights by repeating, I respectfully invoke all of my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search or seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to talk to my attorneys, John Targowski and Daniel Grow. Targowski and Grow have the education and experience you need to be successful in Michigan courts. Call Targowski and Grow toll-free, 800-957-1069. The law offices of Targowski and Grow, 800-957-1069. The Ohm of Medicine is a state-of-the-art facility in Ann Arbor where art and passion meet patience and safe quality access. Get to the place that has top-of-the-line security, atmosphere, art, and most importantly, a highly trained and caring, compassionate staff. And the convenience is clear. Ohm of Medicine is easy to get to in downtown Ann Arbor. Private, well-maintained, handicap-accessible restrooms, convenient, secure parking in 2 nearby lots with complimentary validation. The Ohm of Medicine. Log on to omofmedicine.org.
The Medical Marijuana Radio Show.
I love love the rock and roll music coming back into the show. It's kind of fun.
I love it. It's fantastic.
Foo Fighters, though.
It's not the Foo Fighters.
Hey,
we'd have a chance to play the Foo Fighters for Denise.
You did it a couple weeks ago.
Hey, but you know what I do have for you, Denise? I brought you the Vote Green initiative, the big pink shirt.
Oh, my God. Thank you. That's beautiful.
I'll show the people on camera there. Can you see it? That's pretty cool. It's just your size, too. Look at that. And it's bright pink.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you.
I gave Bobby one. It's the black one.
Actually,
these came from Ben, of course, from Ben Horner at Michigan Organic Solutions and the Vote Green Initiative Project.
This came from Ben?
Yeah.
That's nice.
So thank Ben, because I'm just the purveyor of good tidings.
Yep. Jamie and I have been traveling the state trying to push the Vote Green Initiative projects in different locations, Mankato and Jackson and Grand Rapids and all kinds of different places we've been. It's a wonderful program to establish a framework through which we can get cannabis-friendly candidates and issues supported throughout the state.
There are roots coming out of the state.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And a teeny tiny little half of a cannabis leaf. Well, very cute.
What good's a half cannabis leaf going to do?
I don't know. Well, you can,
Yeah, I've wanted half a cannabis leaf instead of no cannabis leaf.
Exactly.
Hey, half a cannabis leaf is better than nothing. Take what you can get.
That's right.
You're lucky you got that one. So we're hoping we could get a hold of Brandy. Maybe Brandy could, Brandy Zinc is from Americans for Safe Access. In Michigan, she's their ambassador.
Yeah.
And then in Detroit, she works for Cannabis Counsel.
Mm-hmm.
And Cannabis Counsel is Matt Abel and friends, et al., as they would say in legalese. And so they're the ones that are putting together the whole 2012 amendment to the Constitution, correct?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that, Rick, what you know? Because in the absence of Brandy, hopefully we can get around the program here, but it looks like we're missing her.
Sure. Matt and Brandy and Sharmi Golson are all spokespersons for the campaign, but I'm happy to fill in some of the blanks here. The constitutional amendment is designed to end the criminalization of marijuana in Michigan. It would remove the penalties for cannabis possession and cultivation, although recognizably it will not resolve some of the federal issues that we have with cannabis legalization and possession. It will make it impossible for state officials to enforce anything other than terribly egregious situations. Naturally, if you have a huge volume of plants, if you have a huge volume of cannabis, then you're still subject to federal penalties. But most importantly, this sends a message to Lansing that says, hey, we're tired of you messing around with medical marijuana. We're tired of the cannabis laws that have been in place for a long time. We're tired of our children being put in jail for nothing, and having felonies that follow them throughout the remainder of their life. And this is one of the ways that those persons in Michigan feel strongly about this, have a chance to tell their government enough is enough.
And the ballot language has been approved, yes? Look, we got Brandy on the phone.
Hey, she's here.
Let's take Brandy up right now. There we go. Welcome to the program, Brandy Zinc.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So we're glad that you're the ambassador because you're an awesome speaker. Rick was kind of filling the holes about what the 2012 initiative is to amend the Constitution to repeal marijuana prohibition in the state of Michigan. Can you tell us how people can get involved and where the status quo is as we stand?
Sure. Thank you, Steve. Well, for a glimpse of the language and to find out more how you can get involved, please visit our website, which is repealtoday.org. That's repealtoday.org. And just as I came in, I heard your last question about whether our language has been approved. The Board of Canvassers, we submitted our petition to them. They only approve the formatting of the petition. So the state doesn't approve the language. And so the Board of Canvassers is meeting on the 20th, and we expect that they will approve our formatting.
It looks like it's
to them, and they suggested one minor change, and we made that one minor change, so we don't foresee any problem or issue.
No barriers, no hitches, no hurdles.
That's correct.
Awesome. Well, we're looking forward to that. So now you've already got the petitions printed up. You've been distributing them?
We have petitions, and if you see one out there and you're a registered voter, please sign it. And we are distributing through our local, regional, and local area contacts. There's a Michigan Normal meeting tonight in Prudenville, or today as we speak. There's training going on there. There's people out in Kalamazoo. There's people in Royal Oak. And hopefully all over throughout the rest of the state as we get these petitions out there. So if you are interested, I urge you to please visit our website, repealtoday.org, and register there as a volunteer. And we have so many people who are dedicated to this and excited about this, really want to make it happen.
Petitions are available in Lansing, also in Flint, for people to sign in those locations too. Brandy, tell us a little bit more about some of the activities that are going to be associated with a movement to make the constitutional amendment a reality. What are we going to be doing in order to pump up this movement and get people aware of what's happening?
We'll be having events. We'll also be having fundraisers. One thing that we really need to do to make this happen is to raise money as well. So we'll be having some fun events, and I urge you to check our website as we put our calendar, as we get more events going on. All kinds of people from across the state are calling and really excited, want to get involved. They want to host house parties or other fundraising events and other awareness events. And I also know that the Vote Green Initiative Project, which has offered us support, they're doing some exciting workshops around the state as well. And I know Michigan Normal is involved in this, and we really have a large coalition of people, not just within the cannabis community, but of course the community at large. So everyone is very excited, and I urge you please to use that website as a portal. You'll be able to get much more information as we move through this exciting campaign.
Now, if people are donating money to repealtoday.org, is there an address you can send that money to? And over a certain amount, it's got to be in a check, yes?
Yes, we're urging people to write their check, make it payable to Committee for a Safer Michigan, Committee for a Safer Michigan, and we'll also have some e-commerce. We'll have a donate button, and you can use a credit card donation as well in the next few days. That should be up and running.
So this is all such a good thing. I mean, I'm so happy.
And our campaign, thank you. I'm so happy too. Our campaign headquarters is in beautiful downtown Detroit. Our address is 2930 East Jefferson Avenue in Detroit, and that's 48207.
So you can make the checks out and send them in the mail if you wish to that address, 2930 East Jefferson Avenue, Detroit, Michigan, or you can visit www.repealtoday.org in order to get more information or make donations, and also to sign up as a volunteer, but you are not able to sign the petitions online. That's true, isn't it, Brandy? That's
correct. We have a union printer who printed all of our petitions, so they're all uniform, so we won't have any unforeseen, unfortunate circumstances when we turn these in. So please visit repealtoday.org, where you can find where to sign the petition and where you can sign up to get training to begin circulating these petitions.
And I would encourage people, if you're not registered to vote and you want to sign one of these petitions, please wait until after you register to vote. Go down to your local township hall.
So true.
Register to vote. It's a really simple process. It's painless. There's no pin pricking involved. And you just give them some simple information, and then they give you a voter's registration card, and then you can go sign the petition, and you're a valid, qualified signatory.
Right. And
yes, and we'll have voter registration forms. Most of our circulators will have them, too. So we're encouraging people to get registered to vote. If you're not registered to vote, this is an important, historic election, and we don't want anyone to be left sitting on the couch forgetting that it's Election Day. So we'll be having voter registration for people as well. But you must be registered to vote to sign the petition.
Yep, sativa's only on Election Day.
No kush on Election Day.
No indicas on that day. We need motivated
Just sativa.
That's right.
It's not a good idea.
Hey, Brandy, it's Denise Policella. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, Denise.
I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second. Say we're out campaigning and talking to our neighbors and our associates, and they come up with, California couldn't even pass this. And this is just, all we're going to hear is, oh, this is just the potheads trying to get their way now. This is how it's always been. This is what the entire 2008 thing was about. It's just about recreation. What are you going to say to them?
Well, I would say, first of all, that the California effort was entirely different. They had a ridiculous model for tax and regulate. We do nothing of that. We're simply removing the criminal penalties and repealing the prohibition. It will still be illegal federally, and so we're not going to mislead anyone there. Secondly, when we passed the voter initiative in 2008 to protect patients and allow them to have caregivers to provide them medicine or allow patients to grow their own medicine, it's because it was the right thing to do. It's because we needed to remove patients from the battlefield of the drug war. And I think the voters in their compassion and their wisdom recognize this and pass this bill that does give these patients certain protections. And it is in part because of the failure of our state to implement this law, honestly, and it's in part because of the abuse of our law by our Attorney General Bill Schuette and by certain judges and local law enforcement.
Oh, Billy Bong, he's a Mad Hatter, he is.
Right, but let's also take a look at and say that the use of cannabis by adults shouldn't be criminalized. Our criminal justice systems are overburdened, and it is a waste of our precious resources too. And the failure of marijuana prohibition has been proven over and over.
Brandy Zinc, we got to go to break now. Brandy, I'm sorry, we got to go to break. Thanks for coming on the program. Right back on the Medical Marijuana Radio Show.
855-MMM Radio. The Medical Marijuana Radio Network.
The Michigan Medical Marijuana Act of 2008. It's brought its trials, it's brought its tribulations, but now it's time to honor its champions. Presenting the first annual Michigan Buddy Awards, happening in Ann Arbor, Michigan at the Michigan Medical Marijuana Conference at 2900 Jackson Avenue, January 29th at 1 p.m. Dozens have been nominated. Nominations close January 21st. Time is running out to nominate your Medical Marijuana Achievement Hero. Do it today at radioweedshow.com/nominate.
The Greene Collective.
Hey, medical marijuana patients, it's time to discover what all the buzz is about in Ann Arbor.
The Greene Collective.
The Green Bee Collective is busy making sure your patient needs are met with high-quality, locally grown meds.
The Greene Bee Collective.
Get to know the information, the research, the benefit available to your condition.
The Greene Bee Collective.
Weekly specials in just minutes from downtown Ann Arbor and I-94.
The Greene Bee Collective.
The details are sweet at mmmgreenbee.com. Call 734-929-2553 now. The Ohm of Medicine is a state-of-the-art facility in Ann Arbor where art and passion meet patience and safe quality access. Get to the place that has top-of-the-line security, atmosphere, art, and most importantly, a highly trained and caring, compassionate staff. And the convenience is clear. Ohm of Medicine is easy to get to in downtown Ann Arbor. Private, well-maintained, handicap-accessible restrooms, convenient, secure parking in 2 nearby lots with complimentary validation. The Ohm of Medicine. Log on to omofmedicine.org. Hey, Steve Greene here for the Medical Marijuana Certifications at AMMP. They're the American Medical Marijuana Professionals. You'll find them just north of Utica Road on Gratiot in Roseville. Their address is 28349. Now, call-ins are welcome, but you're better off calling for an appointment. They have a toll-free number, 877-RX-420-99. That's 877-RX-420-99 for American Medical Marijuana Professionals. That's AMMP on Gratiot in Roseville. The patient's place for medical marijuana education and safe access is Third Coast. Beautiful downtown Ypsilanti is where you can get safe, affordable access to education and materials concerning your specific needs, and quality products designed to meet your exacting needs. It's the Third Coast, 19 North Hamilton in Ypsilanti. Convenient hours, friendly, professional, compassionate. Call Third Coast today. 734-487-5402. That's the Third Coast Compassion Center in downtown Ypsilanti. 734-487-5402. The law offices of Targowski and Grow remind you to stand up for your rights. Always treat law enforcement with respect, but if you're detained or arrested, stand up for your rights by repeating, I respectfully invoke all of my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search or seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to talk to my attorneys, John Targowski and Daniel Grow. Targowski and Grow have the education and experience you need to be successful in Michigan courts. Call Targowski and Grow toll-free, 800-957-1069. The law offices of Targowski and Grow, 800-957-1069.
You got a girl that doesn't look a thing like me. Good girl.
Oh, yeah.
Your mother always said it would be so. You could stay there.
Happened to the rock.
I don't know, it doesn't always have to be rock.
You're singing this song.
It's supposed to be rock and roll.
Hey, this is a brand new, top 40 song. I don't know. I put
top 40. That sells it.
Bubblegum rock.
That's like saying if it's on the internet, it must be true.
Hey, Jason Derulo broke his neck this week. What are you going to do?
Really?
Yeah, he did. I think he fell during some kind of practice, and he's in the hospital. Luckily, he didn't paralyze himself or anything, but
You watch too much TV.
No, I didn't. I saw this on the internet. I'm on the internet far too much.
There you go.
Jason's in California. Maybe he can get himself some, medical relief out there.
Yeah, for sure.
So, looking forward, let's pull Brandy back up because we kind of had to dump out of her during the commercial break. It always, incessantly interrupts. Brandy, thanks again for coming on the show. Did you want to get any last thoughts in? Because we just got about 6 minutes left on the program.
Okay, well, thank you, Steve. Well, I just want people to know that what we're doing here we've had a lot of thought into it, that we didn't just jump right into something that's so radical and revolutionary, and that this is a very well thought out process, and a lot of people across the state participated in these discussions, activists, parents, teachers, former law enforcement. We had a lot of people's input, and so we really feel that what we did, we reached consensus within the community, within our cannabis community, and within our people who may not use cannabis, but there are people who support us 100% in our ability to use this, or they at least feel that we shouldn't be criminalized and be subject to arrest and prosecution.
Well, look, Brandy, I don't care how we have to manage it. I don't care if we have to tie with the guys that want to recall Snyder or Schuette. I don't care if we got to tie with the people that are upset over the school takeovers and the city takeovers. I don't care how it happens. The fact of the matter is we need to get this thing passed because it's the only true way that they're going to be able to make sure that people have safe access and not be risky to criminal, lockup.
Well, and the waste of resources is absolutely disgusting. I mean, I think even for people who are not part of the cannabis community, even for people who aren't patients or caregivers, even for people who aren't necessarily advocates of the use of an alternative form of medication like marijuana, once you point out the fact that in the murder capital of the country, we are wasting an enormous number of resources on prosecuting people who are simply trying to use an alternative form of medication, you get disgusted. You get really disgusted.
The big TV news this week, I just saw it last night on television. Detroit's been rendered the murder capital of the world again, and that's even used, of the United States.
Again.
Not probably of the world, because I imagine there's some other places that are, a little tawdrier than Detroit.
Unreported homicides.
But just in Detroit, and this is using their smaller figures because this isn't incorporating the homicides that are justified, that they consider justified. These are just the ones that they called criminal.
And this is why we are a committee for a safer Michigan, because we know that these wasted police resources, when they're going after nonviolent drug offenders who use marijuana, and they're not out there on the streets, they're not out there finding the murderers and the rapists and the thieves.
Yeah.
And for minor nonviolent offenses, we shouldn't be investing that much resources in order to do it, as Denise mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely not. I mean, I've had clients who own dispensaries who get raided, and the narcotics enforcement team walks in and they just shake their heads like, we don't want to be here. We're sorry.
It's true.
That's
really
actually happening now. It's really actually happening.
It actually happened to me in Oakland County when we were raided there. They said, this comes from above. We don't want to be here. This is a waste of our time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think that's a psychological tool, but
sometimes
I really
what
believe
I'm saying is that, I think that I think this particular initiative is going to pull from a lot of areas that are even outside the cannabis community for that reason.
What do you think, Brandy? That works right alongside the plan, goes along with the constitutional amendment, doesn't it? It resolves a lot of these issues?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And we have, in fact, been reached out to by the Recall Snyder campaign and some other folks, too, who absolutely have nothing really to do whatsoever directly with our community.
Correct.
And it's because they recognize that, well, number one, that this is, again, the power of the people.
Right.
All political power is inherent in the people. That's in our Michigan Constitution. And so that's what we're trying to do, again, is to bring that power back to the people where we do have a voice here. And so this is historic, and this is something that absolutely we can do. It's within our control.
The power.
So, again, please visit repealtoday.org and register as a volunteer and be part of this incredible effort.
Brandy, you're absolutely right. The power of the people is slowly being whittled away. There are people marching in the streets of Detroit as we speak, angry that they may have a dictator in their city instead of a city council speaking their will.
Emergency financial dictator.
And, I just want to mention, because we're running short on time, these discussions are going to happen all next weekend at the Clarion in Ann Arbor.
Is it next week? 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Is it 27th?
27th, 28th, 29th.
In 2 weeks. 27th, 28th, 29th. We'll all be there. Brandy, I'm sure, will be there. Matt will be there. We'll all be talking about this a lot more in depth. So for those of you who want to talk about this and hear about it and discuss it more, it's free.
Denise is referring to the event at the Clarion Hotel and Conference Center in Ann Arbor, Michigan. It's 2900 Jackson Avenue. 27th, 28th, 29th, it's the Medical Marijuana Conference, and we'll be holding the Buddy Awards there on the 29th, which is at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on the very same stage that you guys will be doing the panel discussions, and where Matt Abel will be joining Denise, I believe, and Rick as well.
I think I'm not leaving the stage from like 4 o'clock on Friday until Sunday afternoon.
And there's another big event, too, the symposium at Wayne State University, which is at Friday Friday morning.
That's on the same weekend.
It's Friday morning from 8 a.m. till 4, so you can do that. Plus, you can still do the Clarion event. They're not conflicting. They're complementary.
Correct. Yes.
And that'll be a huge thing held by Wayne State University's Law School. It is not a cannabis supporter. They're going to have both sides presented, and Mike Cox, our former Attorney General, will be the keynote speaker.
In addition, our National Drug Czar will be there speaking, and there will be two
former drug czar.
I'm sorry, former drug czar?
Yeah.
Gil Kurkowski's former.
Yes, that's right. You're correct. I'm sorry.
And Kevin's favorite.
Yes, Kevin's a big guy. Guys asking me wanted to ask questions to Kevin. So, look, we're going to be broadcasting that live on RadioWeedShow.com, the entire 8-hour conference from about 8. Our coverage will begin at 8 and end sometime around 5. Denise, Policella, it's lovely to see you again. Thanks for being back in studio.
Thank you for having me.
You rock for the medical marijuana community. Rick Thompson from Forum Magazine and Big Daddy's Management Group, thank you for being a substitute co-host and a friend of this community. We got to roll.
Thanks for Brandy.
So you guys got anything you want to plug real quick before we roll? Got about 30 seconds. Yes? No?
No, just the conference. Come to the conference.
DTIP, get active in your community. There's lots of opportunities for people in 2012 to make a difference.
And thanks for joining us, folks, on AM 1310, WDTW, Detroit's Progressive Talk. Join us this week on RadioWeedShow.com. Thanks for coming to the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. The Medical Marijuana Radio Show and RadioWeedShow.com are trademarks. Copyright 2011.
The comments, ideas, and opinions expressed in the preceding program are those of the show participants only. Nothing stated in this program reflects the ideas, opinions, or beliefs of this radio station and or Clear Channel Radio.
Identify yourself, please.
This is Detroit's Progressive Talk, 1310 WDTW, Dearborn, Detroit.